Tonight, a woman who filmed her young son smoking a bong to spend at least 9 months in jail, and local oyster growers on high alert after POMS disease was detected in SA waters.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. The Whyalla mother who filmed her 11-year-old son smoking a bong has been jailed for at least 9 months. Despite pleas for a suspended sentence, the judge said there was no good reason to consider such option. Amelia Simpson was in court.
The 30-year-old mother appeared tearfully in court this morning for sentencing after her first few days in custody, now with many more to come. Judge Geraldine Davison sentencing the woman to 2 years, 1 month and 1 week in prison. The incidents took place in April and May last year as the woman is heard telling the camera that it was his very first bong, egging him on as he struggles and coughs. The court heard the camera and phone used to film were stolen with a third party, then uploading the footage online. Earlier this week it was revealed the mother intended to show the footage to her 11-year-old son as an adult. Judge Davison said the maximum penalties for supplying controlled drugs to a child can be up to life in prison or $1 million or both. She told the court she found it difficult to accept the 30-year-old had little knowledge of the dangers of cannabis. Earlier this week, the woman's lawyer made a case for a suspended sentence, but that was something Judge Davison said she couldn't see a good reason to consider, telling the boy's mother that not only did she supply drugs to the child, but she encouraged it. The woman was awarded a lower than usual non-parole period of 9 months. Her time behind bars has been backdated to when she was taken into custody earlier this week.
Police are urging members of the Corn community to come forward in the aftermath of a crime. Officers have become aware of unreported acts of trespass, car break-ins and torches being ported into homes at night via social media and town hearsay. Far North Superintendent Paul Roberts is asking the public to report matters in a timely fashion when they become aware of suspicious behaviour around town. The POMS disease, which decimated oyster stocks along the eastern seaboard, has reached South Australia. Traces of the disease have been found in the Adelaide region. John Hunt explains.
Until Wednesday, SA was the only oyster-producing state free of the deadly POMS disease. But now authorities are frantically working to contain an outbreak discovered in the Port River. Routine tests revealed a group of wild oysters had the disease. Work is now underway to stop the spread, with PIRSA to ramp up testing and other detection methods. Crucially, none of the Eyre Peninsula's growing regions have tested positive. However, the Oyster Growers Association says farmers are now on high alert.
We hope this would never happen, but we have planned for it and prepared for it. We've been working with PIRSA and other government bodies.
A stock standstill has been put in place here to prevent the spread. A ban on using bait from the Port River is now in place, with authorities encouraging anglers and boat users to observe the rules.
Please make sure your boats are kept clean and don't use oysters and mussels and that from the Port River as bait.
The news comes at a time when the state is battling against a spat shortage. They recently received fee relief from the state government, but keeping the disease out of the Spencer Gulf will be their biggest challenge yet.
The finishing touches are being laid down on Kadeena's new sports and leisure centre. The final stage of the project is currently underway and is set to be complete within a couple of weeks.
Kadeena's Sports and Leisure Centre's seen a dramatic improvement over the past few months. Construction on the final part of the $10.5 million redevelopment is now underway. Workers have been busy upgrading the existing basketball courts built over 40 years ago.
It's the court behind me that's now had a sprung floor put in, lining along the walls, rake seating, that will make as a show court for the main games for basketball in our area.
A revamp the council's hoping will draw more games to the region.
I hope that we have some of the state and national teams come here for competitions and exhibition games as well.
The new court providing players with the best possible training facility in the Copper Coast.
Some really active sports clubs in the area and really a lot of basketball players play here through the week.
Meantime, the remaining half of the Sports and Leisure Centre is now open for the public to enjoy.
We've got a weights room, cardio room, fitness room where they can do balance fitness.
And it's already a hit with locals and tourists.
We've had already visitors come to the community having a look at what we've got and seeing if they could replicate it in some form in their own communities.
The redevelopment is on track to be finished by the end of April. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Only 9 months after having heart surgery, Port Lincoln's Kyle Chalmers has cemented his spot at the upcoming Commonwealth Games. The hometown hero set a personal best in the 200 metres before claiming gold in his signature event.
It's been a rocky year for Port Lincoln's Superfish. After winning gold in Rio, a serious heart condition forced the Olympic star out of the Swimming World Championships. Kyle could only look on from the sidelines as he recovered from surgery. 9 months on, Australia watched with anticipation as the 19-year-old returned to the pool, and the hometown hero didn't skip a beat.
Could he do it again? Could he get them all? Chalmers in front. Chalmers wins. What a comeback from Kyle.
Kyle held off Horton and Graham to set a personal best time in the 200 metres freestyle. The win cementing his spot in the Commonwealth Games and answering any questions as to whether the star was back to his best. But if there was any remaining doubt, that soon vanished last night.
Can he get the double? The Olympic champion now being challenged by McAvoy. Chalmers still in front. Chalmers touches. Cartwright second. McAvoy third. Only Chalmers goes under the qualifying time.
Kyle going back-to-back in the pool, dominating his Olympic event and proving to himself and the world he's no one-hit wonder.
To get through the final just and then to stand up and win my first national title in my main event, it means the world to me.
Kyle even admitting it's been a tough ride.
It's been a rollercoaster 12 months and I guess last night really helped boost my confidence.
All eyes now turn to the Commonwealth Games and whether Port Lincoln's favourite son can return home with another gold medal.
Competing for my country again's the main thing for me, and I'm so excited to have that opportunity to do it again. And I guess we'll see what happens in 4 weeks' time and fingers crossed.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, organisers begin preparations for Broken Hill's Ag Fair weekend. That story next. The Broken Hill electorate office of local MP Kevin Humphreys has been broken into overnight. An offensive message was also spray painted onto the office roof. Some locals have criticised Mr Humphreys in the past for his support of the cotton industry and irrigators. Police are investigating the incident. The Whyalla Marina will be shut this Sunday to allow the swimming club to hold its annual open water swimming race meet. It'll be off limits between 7:30 and 10:30 in the morning. Council is thanking marina users for their patience and understanding. Greenpeace and Port Augusta's Dustbusters group have launched a report into the closure of the Port Augusta Power Station. With the state election just weeks away, the groups are calling on the winning government to enact a complete site remediation.
Plagued by dust and smell issues, the state government's handling of the Port Augusta Power Station closure hasn't received a good report. Greenpeace and the Dustbusters group today launched their own probe into the coal cleanup. It recommends Flinders Power discloses how much government funding it has to rehabilitate the ash dam and whether the site will be monitored after the company leaves.
To see if what Flinders Power and the South Australian EPA have been doing to remediate the site has been the best that they can do.
It even recommends Flinders Power installs a brake layer over the ash to prevent the topsoil from becoming too salty.
You may not see those effects for 5 to 10 years down the line.
This report says things like there's 15 metres of dust in the ash dam and they're trying to cover up with 15 centimetres of soil.
A disclaimer in the report reads that SA's EPA provided useful feedback on the 23 pages of publicly available information, but Flinders Power rejected the report, not specifying why. A spokesperson for the Environment Minister told Southern Cross News that Flinders Power must comply with EPA conditions and laws. Yet their laws Greenpeace is calling on Liberal and Labor to pledge to change. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Organisers of this year's Ag Fair in Broken Hill are counting down until the massive event. The biennial Pastoral Field Day will celebrate its 20th anniversary in 2018 and thousands are expected to be a part of it.
This year's Ag Fair could be the biggest one yet.
Yeah, well, Ag Fair is actually a combination between the pastoralists of the Far West and the Rotary Club of Broken Hill, and we've been going since 1990.
The two-day fair is held every 2 years, drawing in around 10,000 people over the weekend.
There's a lot of pastoral type activities, but there is also a lot of things for the general public to see as well.
Broken Hill's premier field day always has a celebrity chef in attendance. This year it's TV food presenter Belinda Jeffrey. Local crafts, clothing, machinery will be on show, making for a grand spectacle out of the racecourse.
The main focus is to put money back into the community, and therefore we use a lot of volunteers, a lot of the caterers, the people that clean the place, the swimming clubs, all that sort of stuff, and pay all those people to do those things. So it generates more money in the community.
Tickets are available at Shannon Electrics or at the Ag Fair office. They'll also be on sale on both days.
It's a little bit different to most other field days because we tend to cater for the community of Broken Hill as well as pastoralists in the Western District.
It'll be held on the 4th and 5th of May. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Racegoers at this year's St Pat's are being encouraged to go green for their outfits. The Broken Hill race will actually fall on St Patrick's Day. That's March 17. The only proviso is outfits or part of an outfit must be purchased from an op shop in Broken Hill. Prize money will be up for grabs for the best dressed as well. After the break, all the action from today's Port Lincoln Cup. That's next. The home of the Northern Demons Soccer Club in Port Pirie has been transformed into a state-of-the-art sporting facility. Thanks to major renovations, Burn Park is now the home of a new synthetic pitch.
Helping regional soccer players to score big. The Northern Demons now training on their brand new artificial soccer pitch, which is said to reduce expenses.
Water was always a problem, so with this new facility obviously there's no water involved and the pitch is going to be perfect all the time.
Head flat, no bumps at all, don't have to sort of maybe work as hard as in grass.
The new facility is expected to help cater for the growing demand of soccer in Port Pirie.
It's also given us a concrete border right around the pitch, netting around the back of the goals, fencing all around the ground, and also coaches' boxes as well.
The new clubhouse now a central hub for regional soccer players.
Function centre for after the games and after trainings.
I think it's very important for soccer in the country area to have something like this as a central hub for all regional areas.
It's a major boost for sport in the town, and it will just hopefully attract players from all around the region.
Other artificial pitches in Adelaide, but around sort of our area we're sort of the only team to have it.
It's just really exciting to have something like that here in Port Pirie.
The first match at the new facility is set to kick off next Saturday. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Close to 3,000 eager racegoers turned out for the famous Port Lincoln Cup today. The best of Eyre Peninsula's fashion and racing was on show, and our reporter Jason Kemp was amongst all the day's festivities.
Colour, fun, fashion and the occasional flutter, Port Lincoln dressed up for its big day of racing.
Great weather, great day, good group of people, have a few drinks, bit of food.
There was glitz and glamour. Fascinators were favourites among the ladies, but the real challenge was keeping them on.
Yeah, today it is because it's a little bit breezy, so I'm just tapping it to make sure that it's not moving anywhere.
While blue skies provided a boost for bookies, others were enjoying the atmosphere.
The races and drinking and free drinks.
Yeah, have a good time. The session. Just being with the boys, I suppose.
Nearly 3,000 race goers were trackside, some hoping their lucky tips turned into small fortunes.
We'll see what Roo Boy comes up with in the Cup.
I'm probably leaning towards Roo Boy in the Cup, and the Daryl Carrison trained horse, always a favourite with me.
The stakes were just as high away from the track, with more than 35 of Port Lincoln's best dressed frocking up for this year's Fashions on the Field, and the judges had their eye on one thing.
Nice and bright colours, seeing as the seasons are pretty late this year.
Fun, games and fashion aside, all eyes turn to race 7 for the running of the Port Lincoln Cup. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
It's always a good day at the races. Time now for cricket tips.
Hello and welcome to the first week of finals action in Port Pirie cricket. This week's qualifying final sees the top two sides, Props and Wanderra, set to clash at Port Oval on Saturday. Props finished the season 22 points clear of second place Wanderra and will start this match as firm favourites. These two sides have met 5 times this season, with Props winning all 5. Wanderra have struggled for runs against the Props bowling lineup and will need to put serious runs on the board this weekend if they're to challenge Props. The winner of this match earns a grand final berth, with the loser set to face Solly North in next week's preliminary final. I'm tipping Props.
Yeah, g'day and welcome to this week's round of cricket tips for Port Augusta. The grand final this week sees Central Stirling, who finished top, take on Corn, who finished second. Both sides have had their streaks of wins during the season. Central Stirling started off like a house on fire, won their first 5 or 6 games, but then couldn't get a win for a while, and they won the last match to see them go straight to the grand final, while Corn lost their first 5 and have just won every match there on after to meet Central Stirling in the grand final. So I'm going to lean towards Corn to beat Central Stirling. Corn have got more experience and have played in the last few finals. Central Stirling have been a good side all year, but I just can't see them getting over Corn.
Saturday we'll see the A-grade preliminary final between Central Whyalla and Rapina. Both teams played each other last week, with Central Whyalla winning easily. Could be a bit different this week, with Rapina welcoming back Greg Phoebe, Waylon Nilsson and Nick Johns. I'm still going to go with the Central Whyalla Roosters, as their batting lineup boasts some of the more powerful hitters in town. Tonight we'll see the Whyalla News Medal awarded for this season's cricket. Top contenders include Central Whyalla batsman Josh Ackland, Central Whyalla all-rounder Bradley Smith and North Whyalla wicketkeeper batsman Ashwin Srikanth. My tip for the night is going to be Josh Ackland.
Semi-final time in Broken Hill cricket this weekend, with North taking on West at the Alma Oval. North have had the wood on West in the latter stage of the season, and I think this looks likely to continue. I think they will progress to the final against Centrals next week. North's batting will be strengthened today with Morgan returning. West bowling is the key to their chances. If they get early wickets against the Northerners, particularly Tobias Hack and Morgan, I think they could be well and truly in this game. But I think North will progress to next week's final to take on Central.
Stay with us after the break. Weather with Amy. And will those temperatures be hanging around the Spencer Gulf in time for the weekend?
Indeed they will, Fraser, although parts of the Spencer Gulf are in for a cooler autumn change as we head into the weekend. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. The warmer temperatures hung around in Port Augusta, 35 the top there today. Whyalla reached 32, while Port Lincoln remained cooler with a top of 26. Broken Hill reached 34, while temperatures hovered in the low 30s in all other centres. Checking the satellite, and despite cloudy skies due to a low pressure trough over the far southwest of the state, there won't be any rain. Clear skies elsewhere under a high pressure system. If you're planning to cool off on the waters over the weekend, there will be southerly winds shifting southwesterly up to 25 knots. Seas will reach 2 metres and the sun will pop up at 7:07. Taking a look at tomorrow's conditions, and temperatures will creep into the low 30s in Port Augusta, while Whyalla will reach 27. Temperatures will remain slightly cooler in Port Lincoln with a top of 25. Woodnut and Corn can expect tops of 31, and it'll be a warm day in Broken Hill and 37. Temperatures ranging from the mid-20s to 30s in all other districts. Looking towards the weekend, and Port Lincoln will hover in the low 20s before 24 on Tuesday. Cooler days also in Cleve, staying in the 20s into next week, while Woodnut will see a top of 31 on Saturday before 26 on Monday. Further up the Gulf, and Whyalla will hover in the mid-20s over the weekend before a sunny 27 on Tuesday. Days will be slightly warmer in Port Augusta, seeing a top of 31 next week. Meanwhile, temperatures in Kadina will also hover in the mid to high 20s. Port Pirie will creep towards 30 over the weekend before 32 on Tuesday. Temperatures in Clare will also stay in the mid to high 20s throughout the weekend and into next week. And while Broken Hill can expect a hot 37 on Saturday, temperatures will drop to the high 20s and low 30s next week. So Fraser, despite some cooler temperatures, it'll be a mostly sunny and warm weekend throughout the Spencer Gulf.
Great to hear. Thanks, Amy. And that's the news to now. Thanks for your company. Enjoy your weekend. Good night.